we're going to basically split this up into, there's two different people that I can think of, or two types of people. And there's a lot of science, a lot of studies and research that's going to come out of this as well that ties into it for us to understand, to digest, to see how it is that this actually impacts us. And the two types of people that I'm referring to here, the first type of person, right, is a type of person who is currently going through suffering or that has recently gone through suffering, that just feels like there's absolutely no way out. And even though you've tried to find some form or some way to end the suffering, you've given up. You've given up hope, right? You've become completely helpless. And this is the funny thing that's going to come out of this episode tonight, is that this is something that you've actually taught yourself. And the research will prove this, correct, right? So this is something that you've taught yourself, a mindset that you've taught yourself. That's the one type of person. The other type of person is the type of person who is currently suffering or has recently undergone suffering, and they've actually helped themselves out of that. And they've learned, or they've taught themselves, that they can do that on an ongoing basis. So no matter what suffering they encounter, they can get out of it. They'll find a way out of it. There's always some way out of suffering. At least it's not gruesome. But I mean, yes, there's definitely parts of the study that I do not condone at all. I do not agree with. But it did prove extremely effective.
They should have done it on humans.
Yes, agreed on that, right? So this was a study conducted in the 1960s, and they basically took dogs and they split them up into two different groups. The first group of dogs they actually put into a cage where they applied shocks to the back paws. Like the extent of the shocks, I don't know. The length of it, I do know. It lasted about 5 seconds. If the dog did absolutely nothing in the first group of dogs that they examined, right? So in the first group of dogs, they actually had a panel in the cage. And if the dog actually put his nose against this panel, it would shorten the amount of time that shock lasted. That's in the first group of dogs. In the second group of dogs, they had the exact same study, exact same or dosage of shocks that they applied to the back paws, as well as the intervals that they applied them to. The only difference now with the second group of dogs is they had absolutely no control over the length of these shocks being applied to their back paws. And the main result that they accomplished after this study was the fact that it's not suffering that leads to hopelessness. It's suffering that you think you can't control.
I do this as well. I want to pave the most smoothest path for my kids. And in doing that, I put certain things in place to make sure that they don't have stumbling blocks and that they don't have the normal struggles of life. But now I've started realizing that this also puts them in a space of not knowing that those stumbling blocks even exist, and one day they might have to face them on their own, and they've unknowingly become helpless against those problems because I just kind of moved them out the way as they came up. The whole point of this episode is you've learned a way of become completely helpless in certain situations. That's through self-talk. You put that there. That's you that failed at putting it off a certain amount of times, which then made you roll over and accept it. You need to go back and say, listen, I need to flip the status quo. I need to take whatever is seen as normal right now and see all the wrong that there is and find that inner strength to say that I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to look at what I'm saying to myself, and I know that I'm worth more. I know that I'm better. I know that I'm being taken advantage of. Only thing that's left to do is to figure out, what do you want from this? Get aggressive. Like, get out of that passivity of just taking this on the chin and thinking, it's just something, it's another day where this happens. Tomorrow will be an okay day again. And then maybe in a week, it's going to come up, but it's not that bad, and then I'll be okay. No, everything can be good. Everything should be good. So be aggressive. Take that stance and combat it, So listen to your self-talk. Make sure that you talk positive things about yourself. Empower yourself, with the right tools and the aggression to take it on.
If you want to get access to sneak previews to our upcoming shows on a weekly basis, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel or join our Facebook page, where we also share our blog posts and other great content from time to time. So head over to our Facebook and YouTube channels and feel free to share it with your friends so that they can also join you on the journey to success. Until next time, guys, cheers.